Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here. Welcome. This is part 3 of the Angel Key series. Here we're going to be talking about, we're going to concentrate on chapter 17. So far we've discussed chapter 4 and chapter 12. There are overlaps between chapters. So some of the things I talked about in chapter 12, you'll see they being re-examined or focused on again in chapter 17. There's many mysteries in the angel, but the angel is the book of our times because it explains everything. The Quran does not explain everything. The Quran does not identify all the players, does not identify all the enemies. So, contrary to what they're telling you, they have no idea what they're talking about. They keep saying, well, the Quran, or this, or that. They don't know what they're talking about. The angel is the last book for this period of time, for the time unprecedented trouble. They tell you that the Sunni said, well, the Mahdi is coming back, and with him going to be Jesus. But what was the revelation given to Jesus? It was the angel. So he's coming back with his revelation. Excuse me. He's coming back with his revelation, and it was sealed to be unsealed at the end. So we're at the end now. But they don't want to hear that. So we don't care what they want to hear, because they're getting ass kicked over there with that nonsense. So we don't care, because the angel is the book, whether we like it or not. That's the situation. So the Mahdi is here and the Jesus is here, but they don't even understand what they are. See, the Mahdi and the Jesus, that's also David and Suleiman. See, same, because Suleiman is David's son. That's why Jesus said the Father, he referred to the Father. And Mahdi, right, is Master Farad Muhammad. He's the walking, talking Quran. See? And Suleiman will come with the angel. He's the walking, talking angel. So anyway, we're going to have these classes. And I started actually a few months back, but I kind of like stopped it because the danger there was these liars, see, they would study it. And once they got thought they had a good grip on it, next thing they be telling you, because they think they have a louder voice than myself, be more people, they present it as theirs. They're doing it already. They're already stealing this information. See, they're already stealing it, but they still can't get it right, because it's no matter how much they steal it, they still can't take and verify or certify Farrakhan, because there's no scriptures that certify him as being anointed or anything like that. They have to avoid the scriptures, and they have to avoid the Quran too, because the Quran does not certify him as anything but who he is, the son of perdition. So we're so close now that I can reveal more, but I'm not doing it like I did before. I'm not going in detail, one step by step, verse by verse. I'm giving just a general understanding of the book, so you can, because leave you to study, because some of you may not be studying, you may just be listening, but not studying. That's the difference. You're not going to benefit. You can't go to the gym and take pictures of the equipment, look at it, and touch it and everything else and think you'll get any benefit from it. You have to use it. You have to study. See, and the more difficult it is to figure it out, the more you're going to benefit. Right? Once you figure it out, the harder it is, the heavier the weight. Right? The more benefit you'll get from lifting the weight once you master it. And some of these things are not that difficult to master. So I'm giving it to you in a way that shows you how to connect, to give you the spirit of the chapter, and show you how to connect, and show you how to connect with the times where we are right now. So it'll give you that way, instead of going to DTD, this verse means this verse means this verse is, because I don't think you're really benefiting from that. But I'm trying to show you how the beauty, how the key works, how it applies to other parts of the angel, how it unlocks the Bible itself, and how it opens your eyes to what's going on right here and identifies the image and gives you secrets that you did not know about. Because those of you that study the angel, you know, before you start learning angel, 90% of what you know now, you did not know, maybe 100%. You did not know who your enemies were. You did not know who all these characters in the Bible were. In fact, you was totally illiterate about the Bible. You accepted it. And a lot of you just threw it away. I mean, you know, there was one time in my life, I just threw it away, right? Because, you know, talking serpents and things, you know, come on. See? But then I picked it back up and thought about it, right? Because it did say it was sealed. Okay? But when I came to it in 1989, I didn't come to it with the idea I was going to be the one to break the seals and all that kind of stuff. I never saw myself that way. I never saw myself that way. I saw myself as someone that was seeking the truth. That's all I ever wanted. All I wanted was to be a scientist. That's all I ever wanted. See, understand how things work. I mean, I wanted to understand how everything worked. The universe, the atoms, everything. I mean, I wanted to know it all. That's all I ever wanted. And my approach to breaking the seals wasn't to break the seals. My purpose was to understand the book. Because I'm going to give you a brief little story here. In 1989, Easter, right? I was with my wife, went over to her family's house, or I believe it was in Irvington, right? And she went up to see her family. I stayed in the car, and I had the radio on. And this guy he was a Christian station. He was just reading the book of Revelations, just reading it. And I was listening to that and said, hey, that's interesting. I can understand that. Right? Now I was familiar with the Bible, but I never, you know, thought about trying to break it down like that because I was always good. I'm a genius at solving puzzles, riddles. Always been very good at it. Even the government recognized that, but they weren't showing me because when they saw my attitude that wasn't going to play their game, then it kept me away from anything, you know, that could be important because I was in the military. See? And I was in computers when I was in the military. I got into it. But I've always been a genius at solving puzzles. Even when I was in early grades, they knew it, but they never told me. Because you take the IQ test and all that kind of stuff. They never told me how well I did on those tests. I got it by accident. This woman named Miss Fitzgerald, she was like a counselor or something. And my mother had passed away, and I was always a troubled child. I mean, not troubled as far as mentally troubled, but I was always, you know, getting in trouble at school all the time. I was an A student on the left side of the part on the card. I think it's left side and right side. But on the behavior side, terrible. These are what they said. I didn't think I was, but my father used to kick my butt. Report card time, I used to don't hide my report card because I was all A's on one side. But on the other side, man, was like, whatever they gave you, U's or N's or whatever. So after my mother passed, you know, they sent me to see his counselor, and Miss Fitzgerald. I thought she was white. And she you know, she told me one day, she confided in me, she said, no, I'm not white. She showed me pictures. So I'm black. And she said, have you ever seen your scores? I said, what scores? You know, because you take these tests. She said, man, you're scoring off the chart. They never told me that. See? Teacher never told me that. And then one day, this was in seventh grade, I had this teacher named Miss Landau, Jewish teacher with a brace on, you know, little one, you know. I didn't know that at the time. So we're out inside during lunchtime playing in the playground. And you know, we used to play, we didn't have no video game, play, you know, hit handball. So I left the ball up my desk. So I go up to get up into my desk to get my ball. This is in Newark. So they was integrated schools at that time. All the white kids up in the class. All the white ones. And she's got on the board all these arithmetic with letters with it. Now I was the best math student. I told you I was all A's. And I'm looking, I said, how can you have alphabet mixed up with numbers? And she quickly erased the board. I said, hey, what's that? And she quick, oh, that's nothing. See, I found out later on she was teaching them algebra. She didn't want to come teach it to me. She was teaching them, all the white kids in there. You see, that's kind of stuff, it alerted me early. I was on to them early. See. And then later on, when I got in the military, a similar thing happened, right? I was over to him in Germany, right? And I was supposed to be, they tricked me out of doing computers. That's what I signed up for. So they had me doing clerk typing at that time. The last thing a guy wanted to be a typist because that was a female thing, right? But that's what had me doing it. But then when I got over there, that's what they trained me for, and they wouldn't let me do that. They had me run down the hills, a grunt like all other, 11 Bravos, those military, I'm talking about 11 Bravo, infantrymen like everybody else. So they screwed me around left and right. So somehow I got on TDY, which is temporary duty, to a battalion where they had like motor pole duty. And so they asked me, so I don't know how I got up there, but I got there. And so I had to keep the vehicles going in and out, and all kind of stuff, right? So I guess I'm about 18 years old at the time, I guess, something like that. I went in when I was 17. And they had this Jewish captain. He was like, his name was Captain Crowder. He was Jewish. And he was like in charge. He was the officer in charge of the motor pool. Motor pool was like, the vehicles going out and all that kind of stuff, dispatching vehicles and all that kind of stuff. So that's what they had me doing that. I was on there temporarily. So I don't know, maybe you quest me, get there, whatever. So he approached me one day after about a couple of weeks, about a month maybe. He said, man, you're really good at doing this, And see, they had never promoted me. I was still private, no stripes or anything. I'd been in the military, I guess, about a year by that time. So he said, how come you don't have no stripes or anything? I said, I don't know. I didn't really care. I mean, I got in the military initially because I wanted to be an officer. I said, hey, let me be an officer. They tricked me out of that, right? I took the test, and I banged the test. I didn't know that because you had to get a certain score in order to qualify to go CS. But then when time come to go CS, they checked me out of it, told me I couldn't go. I said, why? Because they said you got 18 and a half. So they didn't tell me that when I went in because I went in 17. I mean, I got standing another year before you let me do that. And I said, hell with y'all. I said, trick me out of it. See? And now my second choice was going to computers. They said, well, we can't give you computers. I said, why? If I can't go to OCS, why can't I go? Because we're not saying you can't go to OCS. We just say you can't go now. So that's how I ended up being a clerk typist. So then they got me over there, right? And they didn't. I never got promotion or anything. So I'm up there at TDY, and they got, you doing a great job. He goes and check to find out. Then he goes back. He says, man, your company commander says, man, you're stupid. You don't know anything. You're a bad soldier and all this kind of stuff. Right? He was saying all this stuff about me, right? This is why you not got promotion. So then he went and checked my 201 file thing they call it, your record. He said, have you seen your scores? I said, what scores? He said, you're like they got some kind of IQ test. I mean, I took the one for the officer candidate, but it has some other. I swear, he said, man, your scores off the chart. I didn't know that. So he's a Jewish guy now. He got a little pissed off. So he told me, he went back, he said, he talked to, jumped to my company command and says, what's going on? This guy's doing a good job up here. Y'all say he's stupid. He got scores like this here. What's going on down there? Because my company commander, he was like a West Point graduate, but that captain jumped over him because he was a lieutenant, but the captain he was a captain, so I outranked him. So that's what happened. So he come back and told me, well, I want you to go Soldier of the Month. Now, I didn't know what Soldier of the Month was, right? Because every month they pick a soldier. I didn't know what it was. I had been there almost a year and a half, right? I had no idea what it was. And no blacks had ever won it anyway. Because I don't think any blacks ever even went for it. Like I said, I was in there, I had never heard of Soldier of the Month. But something that you go in, it's like, they get soldiers from every company, and they go in and they, have some kind of check on their ability to soldier and what they know about the knowledge of being a soldier and all this kind of stuff, right? So he told me to go do it. So I did it. And I won. I won. So then he really got mad. He went back and jumped on my and says, y'all say this guy don't know anything, he's stupid. Then he says, okay, that was on the company level. He said, why wouldn't you run the battalion level too? Oh, bam. So I ran battalion level. I won that one. Bam. That wasn't supposed to happen. See, I'm black, Negro back then. Remember, this was 60, 67, I think, 67. You know, he was definitely supposed to be stupid. So then they had a big fight down. We had a little town that was no bigger than a bathroom, right? And they had some woman down there, and she had banjo, and she put gauze around your legs and stuff. She was about 9 years old. And she was a prostitute at the time. And all these Negroes, man, they used to fight over her. I couldn't believe it. They would just fight over her. I mean, it was sad. And most of us from the South, right? And those brothers from the South, man, they was pathetic. They were scared of different white folks. And I'm from New York, and I couldn't understand all that. But anyway, I'm downtown, right? You know, because at nighttime, you know, they would go down. So I'm going downtown. Now they call it downtown, but the place wasn't any bigger than a parking lot, believe me. Called place Wild Flick in Germany, Neil Flicken. So at that time, some brothers had started coming over from the States. And they was, remember, 67, so they had been in the riots and that kind of stuff. Remember, this was draft. So they was coming back, Black Power, Umgal, and all that kind of stuff, wearing dashiki. I had never seen anything like that because I left before the riots and stuff happened. I knew nothing about any of that stuff. And I think it was a blessing that I didn't because the kind of person I was, I'd been right in it and I know I got killed. I've been right in the middle of it because I was always, I mean, they always thought I was crazy over there because they thought, man, I wasn't afraid of white people. I used to get in fights with them all the time, right? And I was really militant, but I had never seen that stuff because I had missed all that stuff, all that radical stuff. That stuff happened after I left. So it's like somebody took me away from that to save me, right? And when they come over with that, because I said, these brothers black, man, down with this stuff, man. Oh, man, that was me, man. I said, well, I got to get on board with this. I couldn't believe it. These brothers come over telling that stuff, because they weren't like the ones that was already. So one that was already, man, it was totally Uncle Tom down, you know, field Negroes, period. But these brothers come over with dashikis and fro. I had never seen a fro. I'm telling you, I left in 66. Before it, Newark Rise, nothing still coming. I left, everything was cool and calm. See? But all the people used to always ask me, was I a Muslim? And I didn't understand why is that not Muslim, because I didn't know what a Muslim was. So they would ask me, I had no idea what they were talking about. So we downtown, and you got this little thing called trenching tools. They're like a little shovel that you build over. It's about that big, about that long. And these guys were bringing that trenching tool on the dashikis. And they was going to work on the white boys. They were getting fights down there. I ain't never seen anything like it. So what happened was the next day, right? The battalion commander called me, and not Captain Crowder, but his superior. Now he wants me to rat on who was doing what down there. Now do he know who he's talking to? I don't rat on nobody. I don't even rat on their demons. I don't rat on anybody. I ain't a rat. You might have found somebody else out, definitely not to them. See, I knew who the devils were before somebody told me who the devils was. I ain't call them devils, but I knew what they were about. So I said, I don't know something. Well, you was down there, wasn't you? Yeah, I was down there because they know you got to sign up. Yeah, but I don't know. I have no idea. Oh man, if she got pissed off, that was the end of my soldier month. They wouldn't let me go any further. I couldn't go for a brigade. And if battalion was level, my next level would have been brigade. It was high level. You can't do that anymore. So then they sent me back down to my unit. So Captain Crowder came and told me, he says, I went T.D. Wine in his group. He says, look, he says, you ain't gonna never get anywhere. He said, one of the things, one of your problems is you're too smart. They ain't gonna never let you get the OCS and anything because the last thing they want is a smart black person because that means you might excel them. Because y'all supposed to be stupid and that's what they want you to. If you're stupid, you would have got OCS, they'll move you up and everything because they can always say, see, read. He told me that. So he told me the best thing for me to do, right, is to lead that unit and go re-enlist, take an extra year. And that's the only way I get the computers and sign for computers. That's what I did. So I went, re-enlist, went to Heidelberg, and that's how I got the computers. So it's just, see, when these people talk, like, what Malcolm said was true. They told me, man, you ain't gonna be nothing, man. Why don't you be a carpenter? This stuff is true. They're still doing it to our children. And a lot of you letting them do it to our children. Because a lot of you, your mind's all messed up. Because you, first of all, you fill your head with it, Christianity and everything. You're blowing it, you're teaching them not to think. Because you teach the Christianity, you teach the child not to think. Because when they ask you questions, no, you just got to believe. That means don't think, just believe. And then you understand why they screwed up at school. You teach them not to think. See, one of my high scores was critical thinking. Because I think, critical thinking means you break it down, you look into it, try to figure out what the hell's going on about it, you don't just accept it. And you tell, when you give your children these religions, that's even Sunnism too, you tell them, because remember, that's the basis foundation of reality. Do not think. Because if you use logic or whatever, you cut their head off. So you tell them from the very beginning, do not think. And do not think critically. Be just accept it. And then you understand why they fail in school, they don't know anything, and they're not thinking because you just told them not to think. Just accept it. And then who they accept it from? From Massa. Whatever Massa said, you accept it. And then you understand why they're failing. Could they come and tell you, explain to me where's Jesus? Man, you quit, you go to hell. You're threatening with hell and damnation if they think. You're threatening your own children with hell and damnation if they think. And do you have any idea what that does to a child's mind? I know it did to mine. My father wasn't like that. My mother was. See, I know it did to mine because when you're a child, I go back to look at things I saw when I was a child, like the school I used to go to, military school. That school was like a big mansion. When I went back and was 30 years old when I came back from Chicago. That place was like a little college because things look, it's much bigger than you think they are when you're a child. And when you put something on your child's mind, they're going to go hell ever, never, never if they don't listen to what Jesus said. And the only person can tell what Jesus says is Master. You might as well take a gun to your head and blow your children's brains out. Because you're forming their mind then, and you're just putting their mind at their formative years when their mind's forming. Do not think. Just accept what Master says. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's incredible what some of you, and you call yourself parents, and you're teaching your child to still be afraid of Master because whose picture on the wall? If you don't do what Master says, he's going to burn you forever and ever and ever and ever, and you still don't get all this going on. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's move on to this is chapter 17. Like I said, highlights. Not getting into all the detail. Again, highlight some of these things because some is revealed in certain. So I'm going to tell you the key things that's revealing in chapter 17. Now, again, the key to one I gave you yesterday. I straightened it out because I had you can refer back to this when you're talking about I gave yesterday about the dragon because this is going to have something about the dragon there too, right? So this is what the key looks like, right? Now I put trump there, that stands short for trumpets. Just short for trumpets, because the African nation also represents the 7 trumpets. That's going to be very important in chapter 17. Represents the 7 trumpets, right? Okay. Then the horns, the 10 horns, right? And so forth. So anyway, that's what the key looks like. And every chapter, right? When you have the key, it has to have a couple of constructs. We're going to show you 2 of the constructs here. But you have to fill all the pieces. The puzzle remains the same. It's just the picture changes. So you have to look at this chapter and put all the pieces in there. Until when you get them all in there, then you do the analysis. Because if you don't get all the pieces fit, then you can't do the analysis because it's not going to be right. Okay, now you can read it at your leisure. This is chapter 17, right? This is the information. So this is transliteral. It's not interpretive, which is King James Version. It's transliteral. Because if you get the interpreter, you're going to get all wrong because they change words. They say stuff like the pale horse is not a pale, it's greenish yellow, and that's very important. You say, oh, it's, no, no. The fact that it's greenish yellow hyphenated solves another puzzle or this puzzle. But pale will not. Pale will throw you off because it's not pale, it's not even near close to pale. It's greenish yellow. But that's what they do. They look to try to figure out what this means, and then they write down the translation. No. Transliteral just looks at one word in one language and translates to other language. So that's what Jehovah's Witnesses did because they had the best transliteral, the free version on their website. The JW website, right? Jehovah's Witness, their website, they have a free version of transliteral you can download anytime you want to. It's free. They're the best free one out there. Okay, so we're going to talk about the beast. See, we talked about the dragon before. We're going to talk about the beast this time. That's chapter 17. Who is this beast? See, they got this character in here, and he's more this character in Angel. They hide him even in Daniel. Some reason why there's one particular character that they really go out of their way to hide his identity, and I'm going to reveal his identity to you. But for some reason, they go out very to hide his identity. I mean, I think of a few reasons why. You understand? But we're gonna break that down to you. That's why you could not you wouldn't even know about this in the Quran. See? Okay. So here's the key again, right? See, the first one's like a lion. The second one's like a calf. First represents Africa, right? Lion represents Africa. Next calf like Hinduism, Asia, right? They call the Orient Asia. No, Angel says Asia represents like India and Afghanistan, those areas, right? And Orient represents the Oriental people, China, Korea, Vietnam, Japan, right? And then the Caucasian, right? See? And they represent, the white represents Caucasian nations. And then you got the original nation. See, the angel tells you it separates us from the African nation because you got the tribe of Israel and tribe of Levites. They're one the tribe of Levites. They're adopted by the tribe of Israel. They're adopted in, and that's the African tribes, the tribe of Levi, right? Because Elijah Muhammad was a Levite. See, his followers are Levites. But then you have the tribe of Israel, they would be the followers of Suleiman. Remember John had his followers, but Jesus had his followers. See, and they're called the seven spirits of the God. That means they're God. If you're the spirit of God, then you're the gods. And that's us original nation in America. So I explained that in the previous one. Okay, so here we go. So they put them all together. Then the subtop here that represents the Lamb. He's the only one that can break the seals. Okay. Okay, here's a little like guide here, right? Just to show you in different chapters how the symbols change. Like sometimes the top two are called ears, and the middle two are called hands, and the bottom are called feet, right? And between the ear, right, that's called the face, right? And in the center, right, in the case of a woman, it's called the belly, right? But normally it's the Lord or the God of that particular group. Remember, each one of these has 6 wings. Each one of these represents one of the creatures. They were creatures or created beings, but the 7 spirits, they're spirits of God. They're the creators. That's tell you right there who we the creators. But anyway, and then between the feet, sometimes it's called a voice, sometimes it's called a horse, and sometimes it's a cloud. But in this case here, you also have a situation where the top 2 are not ear, but they're called spirit. That's when you get to chapter 2 and chapter 3. It says the spirit says this, and then one said talk about the works, then one talks about the butt. They say B-U-T because they can't bring themselves to say B-U-T-T. Because the one that's speaking, they think it's Jesus and it's not. Because he keeps saying the butt is saying. And they said, well, how can Jesus be the but? Because that's not Jesus to begin with. So they just can't bring themselves to put both T's there. I put them there. Okay. And so in between that is a cloud. So just show you, depends on the chapter, which symbols, because the puzzle didn't change. Still 6 pieces, 7 pieces, 6 wings. It's just the symbols change. So I just put it out so you can something refer back to later. Okay, now we talked about this in the previous one, who the dragon is, right? So here's the dragon, well, here's the woman. Remember, the moon was under her feet, she was clothed in the sun. In her belly, she had a child, but she had a child and a son. The belly and the child was fraud. He's the Lord of this nation, or the God of this nation, original nation, right? Then you got the chaff and the wheat, and you got the spirits, because they also call the 7 spirits, right? But in this case, we're talking about pre-1975, and Elijah is sitting in that seat because he's a Levite. Remember, he's part of the African nation, and he's witnessing to the chaff and the wheat, because they told this I talked about in the previous one. Let me hit on a little bit. They said that somebody sowed the chaff amongst the wheat, but he was told not to pluck them up. Teach both of them. Teach the both of them, right? And then in the harvest, they'll be separated. So that's Elijah's seat, right? He's sitting right on the rod. That's his seat. Okay. And then we look down here, and remember that's the woman, and you got the moon under her feet. Okay, then you got, separate that, then you got the dragon. Dragon has 7 heads. There's the 7 heads. On the 7 heads, 7 crowns. Also, names of blasphemy. And with 7 names of blasphemy, that gets back into chapter 2 and 3, which you're going to talk about. I'll do down the line, maybe tomorrow, maybe a few days afterwards. But that gets to the names of blasphemy. So that's talking about that. You'll see. So names of blasphemy, because chapter 17 didn't mention that, so I'm going to mention here, right? So the names of blasphemy are on the European countries, because they're the 7 churches. Remember, there was, well, you don't remember because we haven't talked about chapter 1 yet, but there were 7 golden churches and 7 churches. They represent the 7 churches. See? And so, and there was blasphemies, so that we'll talk about the blasphemies later. And it had 7, and the dragon had 7 crowns on his head. So there's the 7 crowns there, because the Europeans are in power now. They're controlling the world. That's why the crowns are on their heads. It had 10 horns. That's the horns. That represents the Oriental nation, also represents the Indian nation. That's the same thing that you see in Daniel, the leopard. The leopard had 4 heads and 4 wings. And it was brown and yellow, because the leopard is brown, is yellow with brown spots. That's yellow with brown. It's a leopard, same thing. See, but the leopard in Daniel, right, the 4 heads represents authoritarian, but the wings represent democracy, and that's the case. China is authoritarian, but India is democratic. See? But we're not going to go into Daniel here. Women might hit on a little bit, but I just want to point out. Then the dragon had a tail, a fiery red tail. That's his tail right center there. The African nation is his tail. So that completes that puzzle. That completes it. Okay. That completes the picture on the puzzle. I should say it that way. So there it is. That completes the picture on the puzzle. Remains the same. The picture just changes. So this is 1975. Elijah departs. Now we talked about that in the previous one. So we'll hit on a little bit because of the last one, because like I said, I sounded hit a few symbols kind of messed up. So we'll just clear it up, make a little clarification. This is 1975. Elijah departs. He goes up to Sepharad. See? So now the Nation of Islam is beheaded. See? Same thing as John. So John was beheaded. It didn't mean he cut his head off. That means his organization was beheaded. He was gone. So it's beheaded. He goes up to Sepharad. See? But the 7 spirits are also 7 eyes. That means Farrakhan, it was his spokesman, national spokesman. You see? He's not a spokesman. He's one of the eyes, 7 eyes. The 7 spirits are also 7 eyes. He's one of the eyes. But now he's also Elias. Elias was Elijah's spokesman. And another thing about Elias, his profession was a musician. He was a spokesman for Elijah. He's also Aaron. So This is bringing in the story about Elias, right? So Elias says, so um, um, Elijah says to Elias, says, "What can I do? I'm getting ready to depart. What can I do? Can I do anything for you?" And Elijah says, "Well, I want a double portion of spirit. See there, two spirits. You understand? This is the key to talking about. He wants double. He wants the two spirits that Elijah had." And I said, "Well, okay." He said, "I don't know now," but I said, "Okay, it's conditional. If you witness me when I go up, remember he was on a fiery, so he's going up to see God, because he's going on a fiery chapel in heaven, so he's going to see God. That's the story here. He's going to see God, right? That's why Elijah's still alive. You understand the scripture. Read about Enoch, right? We're not going to get to that here. So he's going up. So if you witness when you see it, if you see it, then you'll get the two spirits. It's conditional. But we know Farrakhan didn't see it because he thought Elijah was dead. He didn't see it. See, but like I said, we're unpacking the angel here, angel key. So remember, there are also 7 eyes, right? So when Elijah goes up, he's covering Farrakhan's eye. He's covering Elias's eye. Because remember, he's one of the eyes also. He's covering it. So what's the first thing out of Elijah's mouth? Where is the God of Elijah? Because he can't see him. That's why he's been there. You see, you say, why do they put this stuff in these books? Because they're locked down by the angel key. You only understand to get the angel key. That's why he can't see him, because he's covering his eye when he goes up. Why would he say, where's the God of Elijah? Why would that come out of his mouth in that instance? That's why. He can't see him now. See? So since he can't see him, he doesn't get what Elijah says. Now, when Son of Perdition says, right, it says, first, the one who was holding back, the plotters, because the angel tell us they was plotting against him, Wallace, Farrakhan, all of them. But he said he was holding them back. But he said when he was taken out the way, right, see, then there'll be a falling away first. It said, be not deceived, the falling away will come first. See, Farrakhan tried to, it's falling away. I'm exposing the Jews and everybody falling away from it. Well, even if he was exposed and was falling away, this verse says in Thessalonians says, be not deceived. So be clear, no confusion here. The falling away would come first. So Farrakhan got it wrong, because if that was the case, the falling away would come first before he was revealed in who they were. That wouldn't make any sense. Okay, everybody's falling away from the Jews before he exposed who they are. So he can't say it that way, because that don't make any sense. So he reversed it, but it says, be not deceived. So in other words, so you ain't no confusion on this one. That way, make it a point. Be not deceived that the falling away come first. Because this is the falling away talking about. Because here it is, all the nation of Islam falls away after Elijah Muhammad departs. Because there was no leadership. There was no leadership to the NOI. Because Farrakhan and Wallace tore it up. They started their own thing called the Rebellions. The FOI, the NOI had no leadership, so it fell away. That's the falling away right there. See, that's the falling away. And what happens? Now Farrakhan's sitting in Elijah's seat, but he doesn't have the two spirits because he didn't see it. And on top of that, he's declared, he said the Son of Perdition would be sitting, then now he's revealed in 1977. See, now he's sitting in the seat. And so the falling away come first, and then the man of sin would be revealed. And said he would be sitting in the temple, declaring himself as God, above all gods. That's exactly what's happening, because who's the gods? Who's the gods here? See, right here we see spirit, that would be Farrakhan. Right here, above the one say face, the Oriental person, the Buddhist person, right there, that would be Farrakhan would be setting. I mean, not Farrakhan, Farad. And that here, where the eagle is, that would be Satan. So those are the two people that call God. So that's why he's sitting in the seat, declaring himself above all gods, all that's called God. He's the Son of Perdition. And said he would rule for 42 years. Ain't Farrakhan been ruling for 42 years? He ain't there yet. Anyway, I thought that put that. And then when they say first, remember I told you about the thing I showed you in the beginning where the wings and everything? Okay. Remember the trumpets also represent the serpent. So the face of a serpent would be the lamb. That would be, so keep that in mind. That's why I put that in the face of a serpent. See? Because this would be represent the serpent. It's also Jacob's ladder, because Jacob's ladder was the angels descend and ascend. Remember, the original nation was up top, then they descended. Now the African nation on top. They switched back and forth. This is Jacob's ladder. Okay, so move on. Then 1990, we have the war, right? Mr. Bush's war over in and the America and Britain falls Israel. They take and they invade the Middle East, and they become the powers of the Middle East. They push the Shia down. See, Shia is this the we way say spirit, the gold spirit, two wings right there. That represents the Shia. But top here represent America, Britain, and falls Israel, because they done moved into the Middle East. I'm keeping it like this. I'm keeping it simple because we're gonna make this a little more clear as we go further. But I'm just going through this again because I want to get to chapter 17. But this is connected to chapter 17. It's building up. See? Okay, we got a little error here again. See where it says the spirit right here, where it says the golden horns right there? Well, that should not be horns, it should be water. So I thought I corrected that. Again, I thought, is it somebody saying on my computer? I'm just confused because I know I corrected that. And so anyway, it should not be, those are not horns there. These should be either Sunnis or water. It'd be the moon or something. It wouldn't be water. It wouldn't be horn. Horns are these down here, starting from here. But the thing about it is the top two wings of every nation is the Islamic part of it, because gold represents Islam. It's the golden part of it. So there you get the identity of the golden calf. Here's the calf, and this here, and this would be the Sunnis. Where it says horn here, this would be the Sunnis. In fact, I am going to change this because I'm not going to leave it like this. I'm not, because it's just going to confuse people. I'm going to just fix that. Okay, that's the way it should be there, right? So that's the identity of the golden calf. Sunniism is the golden calf. See? So leave it like that. Okay. And so 1990, America falls Israel and Britain invade the Middle East, and now they're in control of the Middle East. And then 2015, right? Obama's the president during that time. But this gets back to chapter 1. I mean, it's the first seal where it says that there was one sitting on a white horse. He had a crown and a bow. In fact, I'm going to make that clear right here. This is a good point to make that statement. Okay. I might as well cut their chase on this brown system because Okay. This is the first seal. It says, when we're setting on, this is 2015, right? There was once, he had a golden crown and a bow, right? And he was sitting on a white horse. But that's Obama. He was present during this particular time. When I get into the seals, right? Chapter 6, we'll break this down more definitely. But that's that's Obama they're talking about. We're going to talk about him a little more because this whole chapter is really about him. See, that's one of the things, secrets. He was the one, and he went for conquering and to conquer. That means he had one conquest that's president of the United States, but his next conquest to be president of a non-Islamic federation in Africa. Africa is about to be split up into two parts: non-Islamic Africa and Islamic Africa. They're about to unite, just like China did. They're going to unite, right, into two segments: non-Islamic Africa, that's going to be loyal. I mean, that's going to be loyal to him. And Islamic Africa, that's going to be loyal to Farad. Right? They're all Levites. So that's who that is. That's sitting on that white horse. That's Obama. And we're going to talk about him a little more. That's 2015. But this is when they had the JCPOA and this when Shia, Iran is put under the foot of the nations, right, under control of the UN. That's what it's talked about in chapter 11. And I'm going in detail about that here. Right. Uh-oh. Gotta show it first, right? There it is there, right? See, yeah, golden crown and a bow. They think like a bow, like a rain, no, exactly, rainbow, because rainbow was, see, in chapter, later you see, chapter 10, it's called rainbow. This red one will be up top here. This will be called rain, this is called bow. But that's another story. But anyway, he has a crown, so when this configuration here is, that's 2015, he's president, right? He's sitting on the white horse. Because remember, the one under here can also be a horse. Okay. Okay, 2015. Also during a time when Suleiman would go to the Nation of Islam. Remember, because some become black, that's what it means. He would go there and they would reject him, right? But this is also during the GST. This is when they come up with the JCPOA, and Iran's putting the foot of the nations down the bottom down there. When you see a trumpet, that would actually be rain. But there's enough symbolism. Anyway, that's the situation. See, so Obama, he's actually the president at that time. In 2016, right? He loses the presidency, right? So he's getting ready to, there you go. He's not president anymore. Right, 2018, 2020, during this particular time, that's when Mr. Trump, these don't represent Trump, represent trumpets. Remember, Mr. Trump breaks the agreement. And between 2018 and 2020, they start, the friction between America and Iran keeps growing. As you see right here. Because they're moving up like a wind. In 2000, and said during that time, plagues will be spreading. See? Okay. Oh, he got this horn again. Well, says, excuse me on that. The horn should not, like I said, should be Sunni there. Maybe I'm just not paying attention. I got that. Okay, that's 2021. That's where we are right now. The war is about to happen. The war is about to happen. And when that war happens, it's about to happen, that means Suleiman is going back to the Nation of Islam again. They're going to step this time because they're under fire. This is when Farrakhan, his debut, is going to be kicked out. That's talking about the Ancient of Days, and Daniel, right? He said and he cast down all those thrones. That means cast down the demons in Farrakhan out of Islam. Now he's saying, right? He says his flames as they come out is because he's in the furnace. That's the story of Daniel in the furnace, but he was protected, right? That's what it says. Then talking about the mother plane that's fire. No, We're still in the first, we're still in America when this happens. That's what it's talking about. See? So that's where we are right now. This is about to happen. That's what I'm talking about this right now. See? Okay. So then America falls Israel, and Britain's kicked out in the Middle East. Iran has kicked them out. Iran, the Shia, has kicked them out, right? So now that's the configuration that's about to happen, right? And Suleiman's protecting the NOI, but all blacks under attack at that time. And this is where it talks about the beast, because there was a beast that had 7 heads and 10 horns also. See, the dragon had 7 heads and 10 horns, and the beast had 7 heads and 10 horns, but the beast had crowns upon his horns. And they tell you in chapter 13 that the dragon gave his authority to the beast. That means that at this particular time, when America is in this situation, we're going to see in a few minutes, they're at war with Europe, with Russia, and even with EU, because EU are turning against them. They're at war with China and Korea, right? And so the power shifts to the beast, to China, India, to that leopard and Daniel. The power shift, that's what it is. The power shift. They're the superpowers, because America's being torn apart. They're superpowers. America's been torn apart internally and externally. I'm talking about, I'm going way past half an hour on this. It's only supposed to last half an hour. Anyway, they're going way past. The power's a power shift. That's what it's talking about. That's the beast. He has 7 heads and 10 horns. See? So this beast is where you see where you see the Buddha's face. That beast that represents China. I mean the China sphere. The power shift to them. Where India's with them. India and China's gonna be together. Right? They're the ones going to take out America. They're going to invade America. That's what that's talking about right there. The power shift. So you had the dragon had 7 heads, 10 horns, but his power was given to the beast. In other words, now they became superpower. You said right now, they tell you, going to war with China. See? But now, because they got bogged down there, now China and India are the superpowers. China right behind. That's called death and Hades. Because death, see, you get the King James version, you think death represents the pale horse. No, death represents the one above it, the black horse, which means the one sitting on the black horse would be Oriental countries. Okay. And then, right, that would be when the 4 winds blow, or the trumpets. The trumpets are also the winds. They blow, right? And that's the resurrection where the demons and the saints, the chaff and the wheat are put together, and then the chaff to pull out and thrown into the fire, right? See, that's what's happening here. All this happening this year. As soon as the war breaks out, that's what's going to happen here. See, but see what you got right here. We're going to see this in a minute. Now, this beast right here, right, that's the tail. See, you got the dragon, right? But this is another beast. He's a tail of the dragon. We'll see that in a minute. Because he'll be alongside. Okay. So here's one of the puzzles to tell you. Before this, I'm going to jump ahead one before and then come back to this one. See here? You had 2 beasts and a dragon. One beast represents Obama. He's the beast that has 7 heads and 10 horns, but he had no crowns on his horns, right? And he'll be alongside the beast that has 7 heads and 10 horns, right? And his crowns upon his horns. He'll be alongside. So that's what you see. Here's Obama here, but he's over here alongside this one. That means he'll be alongside. He'll be with them. Because he's a tail, right? And then here's the dragon here. The dragon represents the House of Sod. It tells you that the House of Sod are really Indians that the British put on the throne in Mecca to guarantee that oil flow to the west. They're not even Arabs. That's what Injil is revealing, right? But they represent the dragon, because what the Quran says, those who, I says, if you are with the, he said, do not make friends with the Christians and the Jews. If you do, you're one of them. Well, that means they're not Muslim, because they made friends with the Jews and the Christians, haven't they? That the Quran's lying. That means he's not one of them. He's with the Christians and the Jews, because he's made friends with them. He's allied with both of them now. Anyway, so that represents the dragon. Obama represents the beast that has 7 heads, 10 horns, and no crowns upon his horn. Because he said he'll be alongside the beast that has 7 heads, 10 crowns, and crowns upon his horns. See? That's what that's talking about. So we're going to back up now. Okay. I said he was very mysterious about, let me get myself out of the way here. I guess I can just leave it here like that. Okay. You can read at your own leisure, but it says, I came to be in the spirit pertaining to the Lord's day, heard behind me voice great as a trumpet. This is chapter 1. So what it's telling you is that I have, see what's telling you is, see where I said John here? So this is chapter 1. And behind him, he saw 7 golden candlesticks. That's the top one here. Remember, they've been corrupted. They should be gold. All the spirits, they're colored now. That means they're corrupted. But it was all gold originally. We all came in, it was gold. But they corrupt us by raping our women and everything. So now they're demons. They're still spirits, but evil spirits, right? But he said, when he turned, he heard a voice as a trumpet. So he's referring to the Lamb as a trumpet also. So we got 7 trumpets we know about, right? But he's referring to him as a trumpet also. That would make an 8th trumpet. That's why I put, that would make an 8th trumpet. So we go over here, right? We see the 1st trumpet, the 2nd trumpet, the 3rd trumpet, the 4th trumpet, the 5th trumpet, the 6th trumpet, and the 7th trumpet, right? So what does it say? It says, it's talking about this one, this mysterious one, see? And what does it say about him? Let me read this very carefully. You can read at your own leisure. Give me a minute, second here. Got another computer I'm looking at here with the, okay. Okay, first it says, there are 5, they said there are 7 kings. They're talking about these 7 trumpets, right? And the 5 fell. That means the 5th one here. See, the 5th trumpet is the first trumpet to blow. If you understand, they got 7 trumpets, right? But the 5th one is the first one to blow. So you think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. No, the 5th one is the first one to blow. Then the 6th one, and the 6th one releases the first 4. Because he's holding back the first 4 winds. See? So we'll get to that later. But after the 6th comes the 7th. So it says, and the 7 kings, the 5 fell. So the 5th one's already fell. So it's telling you the time sequence, right? And the other is not yet come, right? See, 5 fell, and the other one, see, the one is, that means the 5th one already fell. The one is, that means the 6th one, right? And the other has not yet come, the 7th one. So he's talking about the 7th one, right? And whenever he comes, his mind remain but a little while. See, because he's going to take charge of this non-Islamic Africa. But it's only be a short time. See, because he's going to take a time, just in time enough right? Because that's going to invade, because it's only for a short time. The invasion of America, and then finally the final war of Armageddon against us. And wild beast, which was, and not it is, he is the eighth, but out of the seven, he is, and in destruction, he's going under. Let me read that carefully again. It says, and the wild beast, because they refer to this one as wild beast. Remember, you got the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns and crowns upon his horns, and you got the dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, his crowns upon his heads. Then you got the wild beast who has 7 heads and 10 horns, but he don't have any crowns, right? He's alongside. It says, and the wild beast which was, now it is. See, it was in power. It's not in power right now, right? See, he was in power. He was the president. He's not in power right now, right? See, and the wild beast was, and now it is, and the eighth is, and out of 7 he is. See, he's the eighth, but he's one of the 7. See, and eighth is, he's the eighth, but he's one of the 7. I said, what the hell does that mean? He said, he's the eighth, but he's one of the 7. Now, how can be the eighth and the 7 at the same time? He's the eighth, but one of the 7. So who's the 7? We know what the 7 is. We got the 7 right there. But he's the eighth. Well, if you take that first one as a trumpet, the 7th becomes the 8th, doesn't he? You get it? See, that's talking about Obama again. If we know what the 7 is. He's of the 7. He's the 7th, right? See? Let me read it again. And he is the 8th. Say 8th. But out of the 7, so he's the 8th, right? But he's out of the 7. So if you count that first one as a trumpet, then that means the 7th one become the 8th one. But he's one of the 7. That's what that means. Every time about Obama. And believe me, Obama's all over Scripture. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. He's Belshazzar in Daniel. He's Belshazzar. He was an African king that came after Nebuchadnezzar. He's all over the Scripture because they was comparing him to Daniel. That's why I said Tekel, Tekel, T-E-E-L on the other side, because his name was Belshazzar, but Daniel's name was Belteshazzar. He had a T-E in it that Belshazzar didn't have. So that's why he had T-E on one side, E on the other side, because both made E-L, but only he had E. That says you are found wanting. You've been weighed in the balance and you found wanting. I talk about that. Because they compare, because see, you don't understand who Obama is. But they really, I've really been slow to talk about this because, I mean, you have no idea who Obama is. They're talking about Lucifer, they're talking about Obama. He's the one that wanted to be, right? He compared himself to Suleiman, but he wanted to run, he has a conflict with Michael. See, Lucifer and Satan are not the same thing. Lucifer wanted to make his throne in the north, far side of the north. So he'd be like the God, see, because he thinks he's like Farad. He's mixed too. See, his mother's Caucasian, his father's original. He's like Farad. And he wants to be, see, because that's the Lucifer and Michael, they're both archangels. Right? But Lucifer was jealous because God favored Michael. So he says, I'm going to be the Most High. That's another story. I'm not going to any further here, brothers and sisters. But you don't know who he is, and you're going to find out in a minute. And all these demons that's worshiping him, because he said all the demons worship those whose names are not in the Lamb's Book of Life will worship him. That's all the demons. And they did. Farrakhan was worshiping him. I got the clip. Oh man, he called Obama the anointed, the Messiah. I got the tape saying it. Since they will worship him. And so all these blacks, they loved him. All these Christian blacks, they loved Obama. They still do. So who are they talking about? That's exactly what it's talking about. So that's the main point of chapter 17. It reveals everything. And you're going to see them. And the thing is, when they invade America, the goat, which represents the leopard, when they invade America, and the demons are going to think that Obama's going to, he's going to kill about y'all. He come, the demon's gonna be ready to tear his country apart. And they think that he's gonna come and help them. No, he's gonna eradicate them because he hates you. He hates all blacks over here because he's a serpent he's a serpent in Eden, right? That told the female America, right, that you can get rid of them. You can eat. That's what make consume the knowledge of tree of good and evil. See, the child of good and evil means the all blacks, the saint and the child. He said, no, eat to consume, take out existence. You know, you can do it. You can get rid of them. Because also the Trumps represent the serpents. He don't care nothing about you. The Africans don't care about you because they're ashamed of you because you make it look bad over the world with all your dumb movies and women with the ass big as the moon shaking like jelly and all that kind of stuff y'all be doing. All the men are pimp and stupid and clowns. And that redounds back to them. They want you gone. But he's going to be he's the one that's going to make the final war against us. I'm not going there. I meant this behalf now, so I'm going to stop. I'm not going to go a lot of detail here. I'll say it for another presentation, right? See, he's a hidden enemy. Went forth conquering the conqueror. It means he had two conquests. He already made one. Okay, well, since I think we're going to pretty much wrap it up here. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I can talk about still. I already explain this here. Beast Dragon, Obama. This here is this is when Iran and Syria kicks them back out of the Middle East. They're back in the Middle East in charge against the Middle East again. America falls Israel, and Britain is kicked out. This is what happens to them. Bam. Now they're at war with China, Korea, Russia, and EU. EU turns. When I tell you about rainbow, that's what's about to happen this year. This year. Then America is going to be invaded by the beast, and Obama's going to be with them. It'll be China, India, death, Hades, along with, he's going to be alongside non-Islamic Africa. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Anything else? Oh, and it says, oh, let me go back and mention something else real quick, and then we'll close it. It says these 10 horns, right? It says they would hate the harlot. That means they're going to hate America. And they're going to make her, how it says, and 10 horns you saw are the way, and the wild beasts. Remember the 10 horns, the 10 horns you saw and the wild beasts, these will hate the harlot. So you're talking about, it says, and the 10 horns which you saw, that means that's China, India, and the beast, that means, and the wild beasts, that's talking about Obama with them, right? It says they will hate the harlot. That's America. They will hate harlot. They haven't been desolated. Remember, after they conquered her, they've invaded and conquered her, right? They make her naked. They're going to take everything of value, right? And flesh or eat. They would take all the people that are healthy, right? The young people that's healthy and everything. They will take them and take them into slavery, and they never come out of it again, right? And then they will burn down America. They're going to burn like America. So what you going to do, Farrakhan, those 6 states you talk about? You got asbestos to cover them states? They're going to burn the whole country down. That's what Malachi says, the whole country be burned down. But no, you want 6 states because you're a demon. You're going to be here. You're going to get burned down with them. And it says, this is what you need to think about, brothers and sisters. It says, and the God put in their hearts to do it. It says, God is the one that got them to do it. It says, God is the one that got them to do it. He was the guy, because when you read the goat in Daniel, he had a horn between his eyes. He was guided. So it says, God is the one that's going to have them do it. Elijah Muhammad said that too. God was going to inspire the enemies to take down America. So how will they do it? Well, let's look at it from a general sense. Okay, what happened? You go out here and you say, okay, now the Shia, they have control of the Middle East totally. The oil, everything. Saudi Arabia, Mecca, Medina, they have it all. Sui's gonna go crazy. The dragon's gonna go crazy, right? And they're gonna attack us over here. Then we'll create messages. Like Muhammad said, they're gonna be running around just blowing up gas stations, so they're gonna go crazy. They don't attack us over here. But said the dragon attacked the woman, the righteous woman. They're gonna attack the nation of Islam because now they know that we are the true seed of Abraham, and they sit on our land, and then we coming to get it. So they're gonna go nuts. But the bottom line is that the Shia control the Middle East totally. Fraud got their force, because remember, it says Michael and his angels are going to war with them. That means fraud. That's why all this stuff here about the UFOs you hear about now, because they know this is about to happen. Fraud, they're trying to take out Farad before he can take them out. So it says now they got total control, and they got fraud protecting them so nobody can touch them. And the Americans not going back over there. So that's another story I'm not going to talk about here. But the point is that China and India are totally dependent upon the oil in the Middle East. Totally. Not partially, totally. And Faraj's protecting them. So could they say, China and India, if you want to continue getting oil, because they've already, see, if you read chapter 18, they've already cut Europe off. Europe has already collapsed. That's why Europe is going to war with America. They're going to blame America because their economies just collapsed. In chapter 18, why it collapsed? Because Iran just cut off the oil flow, because Europe is also totally dependent, not Russia, but Europe is totally dependent upon the oil from the Middle East, and that is cut the spigot off because they was helping America when they went to war with them. So that's why their economy collapsed overnight. So now they telling China, if you want to continue getting oil, because their whole economy, without it, the economies will collapse. You go and take out America. There you go. Because it says Faraj is the one that's telling them to do it. It says he's the one. It says, for the God gave into hearts of them to give an opinion and do one opinion to give their kingdom to the wild beasts and to be, let's see, and God gave them the opinion to do that. See? Okay, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. We're going to close out right here. This went way down here for an hour. But I guess it was worth it because, let me make sure, maybe move this out the way right quick to make sure I'm not, so you can get a full, see before I close out. Okay, because there's a lot of information here. Like I said, the angel reveals everything. So hope you understand, brothers and sisters. This is mostly, I didn't hit all the pieces. I had the major points in chapter 17, because chapter 18 is that real deep information I'm trying to give you. This is not a class to go step by step, each individual in detail. I gave the high points. Show what they're talking about, the mysteries they're talking about in there, how you understand what they're talking about. Okay, brothers and sisters, hope you understand. Let me see. Okay, we come like this. Okay, we got that. Okay, brothers and sisters, that's it. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.